kid from the bush who grew into a legend in his own lunchtime, former SAS soldier Michael J. Malone has seen it all. This is Never Die Wondering, Mick Malone in his own words, hosted by the man himself, Mick Malone, along with Toby Malone, as they examine this long, storied career in the Australian Special Forces. Join us each week for behind-the-scenes insight, exclusive readings, and brutally honest truths from a true original. Welcome to Never Die Wondering. Welcome to episode 47 of Never Die Wondering, Mick Malone in his own words, a podcast that explores the life and legend of Michael John Malone, OAM. My name is Toby Malone, Mick's son and co-host of this podcast series, joined by the man whose name is in the title, Mick Malone. G'day, Dad.
How you going, boyo? I haven't seen you for a while.
Yeah, it's good to see you. It's we've reached the end. We read all of the chapters of the book. We've got to the end, and this is the final episode of season 1. Can you believe we got through all of this? Or do you think you throw the towel in
No,
earlier than this?
you don't have to believe.
Yeah, yeah, no, we made it. I think it's been good. It's been good to go through step by step and to relive these things. And I think hearing it out loud is it's a different kind of experience than just reading it on the page and
I
hearing
think
the author
so.
read it.
Very much so.
Although you were saying earlier that you had spent some time watching some of the YouTube videos of the podcast on your giant 55-inch TV,
Embarrassing, mate.
and you're mortified.
Well, that last one we did, I'll probably enjoy that.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I mean, you learn things about process, and the recordings, the video recordings were always a secondary thought, but I put them up because we had
Yeah,
them. But although I think scientifically we all hate the sound of our own voice for whatever reason. I mean,
it's funny, isn't it?
yeah, most people when they have a hear a recording of themselves, or they hear themselves on a answering machine, or in an interview or something, they think, oh, I sound, particularly if it's something artistic, if they're singing or acting or something like that, hearing the voice back is we're very critical. So I think you're your biggest critic when it comes to that.
Yeah, I am. That's for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, I wanted to do this one more episode, just to wrap things up, because it turns out that there are 36 more pages in the book, after the end of the book. So the end notes,
I wonder
um,
where they came from.
yeah, the end notes are kind of significant. So I just wanted to spend some time just taking them in. We're not going to read through every page. I'm not going to get you to read the end notes, but yeah. But it's important that we have it. It starts on page 354. Um, so, yeah, so this is today is a slightly different episode. We won't be reading in the way that we have been up until now, but I do want to go through the endnotes and appendices in Two Ranks in the Road and discuss the content as we go. So this spans a big chunk of pages from page 354 to 390. But as I say, don't worry, we won't read it all out. So, yeah, and now without further ado, let's talk about the last few pages of Two Ranks in the Road. Um, so the first we have there is an appendix, the glossary, which runs from page 354 to 365. So this glossary, was this so this was a little bit of an afterthought when we first were putting the book together. A friend of mine proofread the book, who is not a non-military person. Liam Phillips is a great friend of mine. He's a journalist with the ABC, and he agreed to read a draft. And he was unsure of a lot of the terminology that was used because it's military terminology. And your response was, "This is, these are obvious terms." But I kind of pushed back and said, "No, hang on. We would love to have a general readership, so let's
Yeah,
not make this too technical." And so the compromise was, let's put a glossary in the back, so if someone isn't sure, they hopefully can look it up. Um,
It's a good glossary, isn't it? I love
yeah,
it. I love glossaries.
yeah, we put together so what we yeah the way we did it, we put together a spreadsheet with every word that I thought maybe needs some clarification. And then you went through the spreadsheet and went, oh, everyone knows what that is. Like,
Yeah,
everyone knows what a bait layer is. Um, yeah, and so, but at the same time, it's just good to be able to define it. So, and did you enjoy writing this glossary or putting it all together?
I always enjoy writing glossary. It just brings up all the slang words and it's like bubble and squeak.
Yeah.
Such I love it. Leftover vegetables.
Yeah,
Um,
and it's similar to, as we'll get to when we get to the index. When you were writing when we finished the index, you spent a lot of time just browsing the index and allowing the random nature of the words to pop up to
yeah,
spark memories. It's the same thing with the glossary.
yeah.
Lots of
Same
different
as
kind.
budgie smugglers and bulldog and
Yeah.
Calathumpians.
Yeah. Lots of different kinds of things. So we have, yeah, like I said, it's 11 pages of glossary notes, and lots of different kinds of things that are in there. Um, and most of it is defined in text with the footnotes, sometimes in brackets. But I like the fact that we have this here. I think it's a fun
Yeah,
uh, factor. So if you're ever reading the book and you're not sure about what a thing means, then the glossary is a good place to start. And hopefully we have everything. I'm not sure we missed anything. I think we pretty much covered it all in that section there. So yeah, so the glossaries, it's sort of fairly self-explanatory. The next one I wanted to talk about though, is Appendix B on page 367. Um, and this is a poem. Um,
written by my old mate Pancho Kirkes.
yeah, so Pancho Kirquez wrote this poem called "Fighting with Private Malone." Can you give us some context as to when he first told you about it, or when you first heard about this poem?
Well, he sent it to me and said, "You might like this." And I thought, "Oh my God!" So I had to use it in the book and stick it in a appendix.
When did he
Uh,
send it to you?
so he sent it to me. Oh no, um, 6 months before we finished up.
Right.
But
And why
oh,
and why do you think you got the honor of being in the title? The
I don't know.
poem's
I
called
don't.
Fight. It's called Fighting with Private Malone, but he
I don't
fought with a
know.
lot of blokes.
I said, mate, why am I in this? He said, well, we did every patrol together.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. He was the best digger, fantastic digger.
yeah, and he was pretty hard done by
Second
as
in
well.
command, always up the back. You want me to read it?
No, well, I think we'll get there, but he was a little bit hard done by in Vietnam, wasn't he?
Oh, torture.
What happened?
Uh, well, he reported enemy behind with a thumbs down,
Yeah,
and we all went into immediate action, of course, down on one knee, facing our arc. Anyway, there was no enemy there. And then we moved off and he did it again. So he was seeing enemy. I believe him.
right.
But the patrol commander, who was an officer, um, got a bit cheesed off. And when he got back, he went to the boss and said, I want Kirkes out of my troop.
Huh.
And I thought, my God. So he got sent to our troop. And it's absolute tragedy. She was the
Yeah,
best soldier in the bloody entire troop.
right.
Um,
And he's still
anyway,
with us. He's in South Australia.
South Australia, yeah.
So, so
He's
he
written a
must.
book, but it's just 700 pages, about that thick. And I've put my hand up for one, but he, and everyone else I know has put their hand up for one, but he's never going to finish it.
Right.
He's one of those procrastinators who keeps thinking up new stuff, and it's going to be a lot of music.
Right.
Have a lot of music. He played a flamenco guitar
Right.
in the lines, and he only played it when he thought we weren't listening. So he'd be up the boozer and we'd someone to say Kirk has got the guitar out. So we'd sneak down to the hutchie and listen to him. If you ever found you're listening, he'd immediately shove the guitar in a case and hide under his bed.
Huh. Interesting guy.
Funny.
And this was his
Good.
second tour when you met him.
Two tours, yeah. 19 he was
Hmm.
when he went in the first one. His brother was in one of the other squadrons. Tom Kirk has. They're of Yugoslav um, parentage,
Right.
but absolute champion.
Yeah, yeah.
Married a beautiful girl. Two of his sons joined the army and went to Timor. And so, there's a lot of military in that family.
Good. Well, this poem, Fighting with Private Malone, subtitled A Militant Writing of Young Old War Mate in Non-Song and Movie Line, Words from Within. Very interesting. And I'm going to give you the I'm
This
going to give
this
you I'm
this
going
could
to
be
give you the I'm going to give you the time
this
off.
could be a part of Wake.
It could be, yeah, that's right. So I'm going to give you the day off for the reading because I have a guest reader who's going to cover it for you. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were two young men of 4 living in a 4-man hutchie tent in our offshore real war. Nothing spectacular, in vernacular of some movie, Saving Private Ryan of some previous war. Just that normal humdrum of 4 young men in my second tour of duty in Vietnam War. I didn't have a girl back home and assumed he did, back then, so no dear heart story of a war. We were combat soldiers, no bolder than each other, druthers, nor a promulgated hero of war. As combat soldiers and not murderers, we killed enemies and avoided being killed in our war. 5-man soldier patrols inserted by helicopters into enemy territory, killing time in our war. Playboy centerfold on lockers and Figmo chart numbers to cross off before we leave our war. Malone often tended the bar, and I was no boozer, both no losers. Just did our duty in our war. Malone suffered from prickly heat, was a user of powder that Mum sent to her only son at war. Enjoyed similar bass sounds of the Ventures, electric guitar music on our Akai's tapes at war. Walk Don't Run was pace we patrolled. Wipe out of some blokes killing, not spoke of after war. We played the buffoon, corralled in war-killing bout. One of a cycle wheel spoke in our war. On daylight rocket attack at Nui Dat, Aussie forward base, a first for Malone and I in our war. My patrol mate Lorimer from first tour, shrapnel under heart, on his second tour of duty at war. It was just that day as a result of tribal leaders, Goodbye and KIAWIA in their war. Malone stayed with a successful military career, retiring officer ranks of good repute after the war. I got out for good behavior, retiring at the same rank as that when I joined before the war. Both survived and retired, Malone and I, reconnected after 50 years later after Vietnam War. Housewife children, the full catastrophe quote, in Zorba the Greek's nifty catch-up chat after our war. From war, PTSD apostrophe quote, hidden in non-theatrics as lucky. We laughed after our war. Malone and I, just two ordinary young men in chronicity of my story brought together by war. No relative of Private Andrew Malone, riding with Private Malone in a 66 Corvette before war. Malone's car, relative to income of day, had lawnmower engine, 1946 Morris 8 before war. Malone's dream car realized on purchase day of twin-cam Ford Escort hot car before his war. My first car, the old minivan with 850 engine in 1969 after my second tour of duty of my war. Didn't go riding with Private Malone in 66 Corvette. In 1966 was in my first tour of duty in war. Didn't go riding with Private Malone in Twin Cam. Did go fighting with Private Malone in war. Kookaburra said life is not a competition. It's a rendition of a belief conviction. Like a conviction by ancestors, sending convicts to an offshore incarceration. Out of sight, out of mind. Absent makes the heart wander, the young aberration. Kookaburra said, war is nothing to laugh about. In her no reason to rhyme need. Played the Ventures song, Let's Go, on her unplugged air guitar just for laugh.
And that was
What can I say?
Fighting with Private Malone, as read by Bridie Malone, age 14.
Is
Um,
she there?
she's not here. She recorded this earlier. She's probably asleep right now. It's
Oh,
first
okay.
thing in the morning. Um, um, uh,
Fantastic, mate. Fantastic.
yeah.
Really came across so well.
Well, we wanted to make sure that this is a real a family affair. We got all the family involved.
Yeah,
So Cormac did the theme music. So I thought that Bridie should have a chance
yeah,
to
well
chip
done.
in.
Well done, mate.
How's it feel?
I'd like Meg to sing, I'd like Meg to sing Band and Aaron again for me.
Right. I'm sure we can make that happen. Yeah. She'd have to relearn all of the Gaelic.
Ah,
So yeah, so that's so like you say, Finnegan's Wake-esque in moments of that poem. There's he's clearly enjoying playing with the language.
yeah. Kirk has always did that. He writes some marvelous stuff.
Yeah. So is
Most,
he
most of this.
has he written more poetry? Is he a
Oh,
poet?
it's hard. This book's going to be full of it.
Right.
It'll never get finished, though.
Right.
He's one of those people who will just keep writing till he's in the local cemetery.
Right. Does he have kids?
Yeah,
Yes.
he has three kids.
So maybe they'll take it up the way that I did with.
Married the beautiful Monica. She
Yeah.
is a stunner. God,
Well, well, hopefully he's getting a chance to listen to some of these. He comes off pretty well in your book, well remembered
yeah.
and
A lot of time he taught me one big lesson: water discipline.
right.
That's the main thing I learned from Kirkes.
Hmm. Yeah, it's just. I mean, I'm sure it's a genetic thing about how your body handles water, and clearly he had a better handle on being dehydrated than you did.
He's just smarter, mate, and knew that if he didn't control how much water he drank, he wouldn't have any left.
Yeah,
He'd look at me and I've got no water left.
yeah,
The book from the bush.
yeah. I guess in the wet season you could collect some water in the rain, but
We used to hold out his tent,
yeah,
which he just catch water. Another bloke had scoop it up with water bottles.
yeah.
And yet,
So,
you get enough for everybody in about 5 minutes.
hmm.
Nocturnal downpour.
So yeah, so lots of things in that poem, fairly
I'm
lots of
not sure what he's on about with that Corvette. I never had a Corvette.
Yeah, yeah, because I think he contradicts himself because two lines before he talks about the 1966 um, Ford Escort or the
Oh, I had one of them.
yeah. So he's mixing it up, or and he talks about Private Andrew Malone. Did he know another Malone? Did he say, "Oh, are you a
No, I
relative of
don't know
this?"
who that. I don't know who that would be.
Yeah, it's like any kind of poem. You can spend an hour just untangling all of the meanings in there.
No, it's straight out of Finnegan's Wake, mate.
That's- And just a reminder to anyone who's interested, my other podcast, Wake, where we read Finnegan's Wake, is currently available anywhere you get podcasts, including an episode in which you read Finnegan's Wake.
Oh, mate.
Yeah, lots of fun.
Thunderwords. I'm still looking for Thunderwords.
You love the Thunder words; they're good ones. The next segment of the of the end papers is the list of photos, pages 367 to 372. So this is kind of handy if you're ever looking for a particular kind of photo that's there. And so um, uh, all of these captions that appear with the photos also appear in this list of end photos. And so it's nice to see them all in one spot. You can definitely see that uh, the photos really ramp up by the end. And by the time we get to about chapter 30, uh, 32, we suddenly have pictures in every chapter. Which also makes sense because chapter 32 was when just after you got married, so there were lots of photos.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and I was, and just yeah, it's interesting the way that the photos accumulate around certain times, and so obviously your photos accumulate when photos become cheaper to get. So it becomes cheap, with the advent of Polaroid cameras, and also with the introduction, when the kids came along, suddenly you're taking photos, and quite legendarily in the family, was you had three photo albums of the dog and two photo albums of me, and then one photo album of Georgia, because
That's
as
it.
as you go on, you get less and less time to take photos. And my daughter is always complaining that there's not as many photos of her as there are of her brother. But I guess
Well,
that's
if
just the way.
had a third child, there'd be no photos, no evidence that
No,
the child existed.
yeah, and so yeah, lots of different good photos there. And I noticed I was going through photos recently at your place and noticed the huge number of photos in the 90s of mum more than anyone else. And I realized that it was because at the time you were taking as many photos of her as you could because she was very sick. And there was, you never really said it to us, but I
Who
wouldn't
are
go
you
who.
talking about?
What's that?
Who are you talking about?
My mother.
Oh, your mother,
Yeah.
my lovely wife.
Yeah. In the 90s, there was more photos of her taken than anyone. And I realized it
Yeah,
was because it was trying to capture as much as you could while she was there, and then she ended up beating it. So,
yeah,
um,
she was crook as Rookwood,
yeah, yeah, it's amazing.
but she beat it, like you say. She's a tough girl. You'd like to bottle her resilience.
Yeah, and then of course from page 373 to 390, the moment we've all been waiting for, the index. So we're going to read that beginning to end. So index one NZ SAS regiment 134, 149. No, I'm just joking. I'm not going to. I'm not going to do that.
You lout.
Um, this is yeah. So this is a pod. So the index is something that you sort of said on. Oh, I think I did an index for Simo. I think that was the first index I did for you. So I've done
Timo.
yeah, I've done three or four indexes now as your editor, and I did a couple for my own books. Um, and it was one of those things where I just there's a function in some of these programs where you can just sort of develop an index, but you have to do it manually. I think there are some automatic tools where you can get it to get AI to do it for you, but it's never as good. So I put together the index here. I'm not hugely happy with it. I think, having gone through it, I think it could be a little bit more precise. When you have a big long list with dozens of page numbers underneath, but with no context, is less useful. So if I could do it over again, I would have more context in the index just to allow to point people towards what's going on the pages. But it is a fairly comprehensive, and so, might say too comprehensive. There are some things that are indexed here that aren't
Comprehensive.
necessary. Yeah, aren't necessarily.
Like the Haviland Canada DHC for caribou.
Yeah,
It was a caribou. That was it.
and then you mentioned the caribou on 8 or 9 different pages. So it's good to
Oh
sort of
yeah.
see what where different things get emphasis, and some things you go, oh, and I think you mentioned Don Raw showing up at your house and picking up a book and
He
immediately,
looked straight at the index,
yeah.
put it down and said, nah, not in it, and walked out.
Well, it's good to know, like that on page 386, Don is mentioned in the index four times. Page 270,
I know.
282, 285, and 288. So hopefully Don bought a copy of Two Ranks, knowing that he's in there
And there's
four
a
times.
photograph of him in the book.
There is, yeah.
Big Don. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I remember him well. So yeah, so putting the index together was a bit of a labor of love for me, and I've done it for Hail Mary the
Oh,
Creek's
mate,
Up.
you did very well.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love doing it. It's a
All the
so
kayaking I gave you about it.
yeah.
It's tremendous.
Well, I mean, so I think your listeners will know that I'm a librarian by trade and was an academic before that, and um, so this detail work is sort of the thing that really um,
Oh, you love
interests
it.
me.
You love it.
Yeah, um, so it's good. So anyway, so that the index is there, and if you're ever looking for anything in the book, that's where you find it. And finally, on um, and then finally on the last page of the book, we see this is the image I have in my head when someone tells me to ask me about my father. This is the image in my head, which is a young brown-haired uh,
Gormless youth.
you're probably a warrant officer there. I don't know what your rank would be there. This
Yeah,
would be
it would have been a warrant officer.
this is 85, 86, something like that. Wearing
Mm.
the beret. Uh, and I think this was a photo that Mum had in a frame for many years in the house.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then on the end pages here, you can see there's a really interesting this. So you have this if you have the card cover copy of the book. There's a montage that's been put together with lots of different photos that exist elsewhere in the book, but then also uh, a caricature of you, and then a photo of you at how old were you there? 15 or 16?
15, yeah.
15-year-old gormless youth with no idea about what was ahead of him. Never heard of Perth.
Never
Um,
heard of Perth, no.
no. So, and that is
I thought, well,
get going.
I thought that's it. I'm never going to have a career. I'm going to be a shearer's cook or something.
Yeah, which would
Uh,
have been all right, but you wouldn't have had the same thing. Um, so yeah, so that is Two Ranks on the Road. So it's been a good experience writing the book and putting the podcast together.
yeah, well done, mate.
Yeah. So
I really did appreciate it. I really did enjoy it. Don't listen to what I say, though.
oh well, yeah. I
Um,
mean, as long as you enjoyed it, and then at the end result is that we have this book that we can hang on to for
yeah,
generations. So it's
yeah.
good to have. And then the podcast, again, it's just a chance for us to have a bit of a yarn and for people to hear about it in your own voice, get a little bit of extra detail. All those future Mick Malone historians will be mining this for details and trying to interpret the
Future
inflection.
McLean historians.
You never know.
Oh,
So this
don't
is
I?
this is the last episode of season one of Never Die Wondering. But we're not done. I think the plan is we're going to take a little hiatus. So this feed will go quiet for a month or so, um, and then when we come back, we will be planning to read Hail Mary the Creek's Up, which is, as of the minute we're recording this, still in preparation for publication. So it's not out yet. However, we are preparing it and getting ready to publish it. And just as it's published, we're going to exclusively go through it and read it and hear about your childhood. So that's something to look forward to. We'll do that next. So yeah,
I look forward to it.
me too.
What fun.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you, Dad, for coming along with me through this. I know that sometimes it's been a bit reluctant, but it's been fun for me.
No, look, thanks, Bridie. Thank Bridie for reading Pancho's poem.
I will. I will. Yeah. I'll send you the
He's got a good speaking voice.
yeah. I'll send you the file
She
so
never,
that you can send it on to
she
Pancho.
never stumbled over anything.
No.
She KAWAA,
Yeah, she's a
all
good
that
one.
stuff.
Yeah. Excellent. Well,
My
yeah,
beautiful baby.
absolutely. Well, yeah, 47 episodes down and we'll see what happens in the future. So, well done. So that is all the time we had this week for Never Die Wondering and the end of season 1. Keep an eye on this feed for the launch of season 2 very soon, where we'll get into the next book on the list, the brand new Hail Mary the Creek's Up, which considered Mick Malone's childhood. I've been Toby Malone, and thank you to Mick Malone for happily joining me on this journey. This has been Never Die Wondering, Mick Malone in his own words. For links to purchase your own copies of Mick's books, visit the show notes or mickmalone.com.au. This podcast is produced by Toby Malone, Joe Malone and Mick Malone, and engineered by Toby Malone. Theme music is The Happy Wanderer, the official SAS march, as reimagined by Cormac Malone and Meg Logue Malone. Yes, this is a family affair. This is a GM production in association with Imprimatur Books.